Today, I want to introduce you to someone very special to me who has been a member of our Financial Freedom Accelerator for several years now, because I think you'll get a ton of value learning from her experience, both as an entrepreneur who has grown her business to 6 figures and as an investor. I met Dot Spate over a decade ago through one of my referral partners, and it's been really inspiring to see her journey and delightful to be her financial freedom mentor, because she's the kind of person who takes action and gets results. So get comfy and ready to take notes if you can, because this conversation can have a huge positive impact on both your wealth and your health. Now let's tap the like button and dive in. Dot, thank you so much for coming out and being interviewed here in person. It's so good to see you. It's always good to actually get to be together in person. So let's start off with, can you share a little about what you do? What is your business specifically?
Sure. I do movement therapy. So if movement can make a difference, I can teach it. I currently teach people how to reverse their osteoporosis. It's well known in the medical community that osteoporosis is not reversible. That is the official word. Osteoporosis is not reversible, and it's not true. I want everybody to know it's not true, and you don't have to take medication to reverse it. There are proven programs that show you, and I teach a lot of that information. What does it take to reverse your osteoporosis?
So you actually help people reverse osteoporosis and even osteopenia, right?
Correct.
Which is, I didn't know that term until we were working together. What is osteopenia?
It's like pre-osteoporosis. So you don't have osteoporosis yet, but watch out because you might. So there are certain numbers. If you're here, you're osteopenia. When you go over the line, you're now osteoporosis. So all they've done is make a new name for something for which drugs can be prescribed when there's no reason for it to be prescribed.
Yeah, and how did you even get into that?
So you probably don't know this about me, but I had osteoporosis when I was 42, when none of this information was out there. So I've been at this game for decades. There's a lot more information now. So I've been on different lists and different information channels watching, oh my God, there's more information. Now they're actually saying what I've learned over the years, which is if you tweak your diet and if you tweak your supplements and if you do the right kind of movement, you actually can keep your bones stronger.
You kind of created your own pathway to strengthening your own bones, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
How did you get involved in being an entrepreneur in the first place?
I don't know if you know that story
I don't.
Yeah, so I have an engineering background, you know that.
Okay.
I did engineering for 20 years, and the bottom dropped out of the engineering market in something like 2008.
Okay.
And I was new in the subfield of what I was doing. And I looked at my partner, John. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? I'm competing against people who've been doing this for 20 years and nobody's got jobs. And he says, why don't you do fitness? It's all you talk about. So I've been doing engineering for 20 years, and my partner says, do fitness. And I think people would pay me for that? He's like, yeah, you're really good. And so I got some certifications because that's easy. And I said, hey, I'm doing fitness. And I was full in like a month.
Oh, wow.
I just put the word out. This is what I'm doing.
So for people who are starting a business in the mega niche of health and maybe even fitness specifically, how did you get those first few clients? You just told your sphere of influence, hey, I'm doing fitness? What does that mean?
I said, I will talk to you about your food if you're interested in losing weight, which I don't do anymore. I will write a workout program for you, because when you're good at something, you don't realize that it's specialized knowledge and other people don't have it.
Yeah, it's unconscious competence.
You know it's you know it, and so you think everybody knows it, and it's not true. And I'd been working out at that point over 10 years, and I knew a ton about what does it take to get stronger, what are the wrong things to do, how to make it less scary for women, because women typically are afraid to go to the gym and lift big weights, which is really funny because in the osteoporosis world, you have to lift heavy weights. So here's these 80-year-old women petrified to lift more than 3 pounds, and you train them. I had a woman yesterday lifting 35 pounds in my, you
Nice.
just train them. Yes, lift heavier weights. You're not going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Promise.
You have to work really hard.
So, so I just put the word out. I'm a talker. I know a lot of people. I'd been living in Santa Rosa at that point years. And I just network everybody. Hey, did you know this is what I'm doing now? You know anybody? Everybody wants to be in better shape.
Okay.
Everybody wants to learn how to look better.
That's how you got your first few clients. And then what do you think what was the key, or what were the keys to cracking 6 figures in revenue in your business?
Wow, now that is a big jump. Because part of getting clients at the beginning was just throw out some inexpensive rate, $35 an hour.
Oh, wow.
Back then, so 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I'm full, 45, 55. And my history. I'm always the lowest charger in the room. I'm always the one with the lowest rates. So 6 figures for me was a very slow road. But I also, I've been committed for many years to working fewer hours. So part of why it took so long to get to 6 figures was I kept cutting back my hours as I could. So I'd rather make 80 and work 16 hours.
Yeah.
Right? So, but now with your help, I have a different model. So I'm working 8 client hours.
That's amazing.
6, and my goal this year is to hit 50% more than I made last year with the
Working
same.
less.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love that because, we've been working together for a long time. So I've seen your trajectory with investing and growing your business. And in this last year, we've been working on basically leveraging your business more, right? And so when we started that, you were like, okay, I just want to, what was it, 12? Like I want to get under 12?
Under 12. I was working 20 clients at that point, which for most people, that's full time.
Yeah.
20 clients. It felt too busy. And everything you suggested I do, it's like, I don't have time. So it was clear, like, make space, let go of all this trade dollars for hours, one-to-one stuff, trust in the process, trust in you. Yes, I've watched you grow for years. This process works. Make the space and have the hourly be going up as I leverage my time better. Following what you've recommended for me.
Yeah, and you let go of some of those things that weren't making as much to do more leveraged things, which is really exciting. Can I share some of the things that I've seen that I think you've done really well?
Sure.
Okay, so you decided to niche, right? So one of the things that Dot is like amazing at is declaring a clear niche. So in the beginning, she was like, yeah, I can help you with your health stuff, right? But then you did the niche of getting out of back pain. And I think that was one of the real catalysts that brought you to over 6 figures was that clear, like, here's the problem I can help solve. Here's who I work with. And then, and now working with people to reverse osteoporosis and osteopenia, like that's very clear, right? When somebody gets that diagnosis, they're like, holy cow, and there's not much available other than like, hey, want to be on drugs for the rest of your life? And some of those drugs actually make the problem worse, right? You were talking about like how the bones get brittle, and so it could actually like increase
your fracture risk.
Increases the risk of a fracture, which is the thing you want to prevent, right?
Exactly.
So see, I'm learning from you. So I think the niching is just absolutely brilliant. And I also love how you've added leverage to your business in terms of increasing your rate for 101 and then also doing more group stuff. So can you talk a little bit about your group program that you launched and how that's going?
So I used to teach something that took a few weeks, and at your suggestion, I gave them a free week first so people would get a feeling, okay, this is who she is. Yes, I can trust her. Doubled the price for what I was charging, and the sign-up rate is crazy. We were just talking about that.
Can you share the stats you were sharing earlier? Because I thought that was so cool.
So this is the second time around with your model, not mine. I had 200 people or 190 sign up for the free hour.
So that's like a 1 hour Zoom webinar?
Correct.
On how to, is it top 5 keys to reverse?
Top 5 keys to reverse osteoporosis.
Top 5 keys to reverse osteoporosis. Check the link in the description for next time she's doing that.
Top 5 keys free workshop. I like top 5 keys.
Yeah, 5 feels like I can wrap my mind around that. I can track 5 things. Okay.
Well, it's not too many for people. More than that, they're like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Of the 200, I forgot to send out the reminder email in the morning, so I had 70 on the webinar. I was expecting 100, but I got 70.
That's actually
70
really
people. It's still a good rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear people who get 32 people with 200 sign up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 70, because it's a big problem. People want answers. 70 people show up on the webinar. I introduce my little 4-week thing, which is $97. That used to be $50. And 47 people signed up for it.
Ah, so cool. 47.
It was
$4,700 in a 1 hour.
Right. It's actually 37 and then another one. Oh, I heard my friend. And even after the first week, can I sign up? And and it ended up being 40. I think I'm at 47.
Yeah, so 47. Yeah. And then
that's hour. Thank you.
Yes. For your $4,700 an hour is your new hourly rate. How do you like that?
I think that feels really good.
So we went from $35 an hour when you first started to $4,700 an hour now.
But I had to deliver my 4-week program, so 5 hours.
Okay, there you go. So now
good.
You're delivering the 4-week program, and then at the end of the 4-week program, what happens?
So I just offered them more. I remember Jesse, one of our mentors, saying, if you don't offer them something, you do them a disservice. They need more. Don't just leave them there. And so you figured out with me, offer them like coaching, support, once a month, modeled on your program, once a month. I test drove this last time, and they didn't like twice a month. I wanted twice a month. You said once a month. They didn't like it. It was too much.
Well, people are busy, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes less is more.
Yeah, they went for once a month. They didn't go for twice a month. So once a month support, where they can ask questions, where they'll learn more information. I'll keep them up to date. And I'll do one-to-one, like, what's your story? What are your numbers? What do I think might be a good next step for you? And I offered them strength training because it's the number one thing you can do to build your bones. And so I wanted to offer them a choice of either, and most of them went for both.
Oh, fantastic.
I said you could do either, or you could do both, of course, at a discount. They mostly went for both. Nice.
I love it. I love it. So I think some of the key takeaways I'm getting from this is having, marketing to a clear niche, solve a specific problem for a specific group of people. And in this case, you're like, hey, people who have an osteopenia or osteoporosis diagnosis, let me help you reverse that, decrease your fracture risk, live a vibrant, amazing, healthy life. And I think you are definitely such a model of that, just the way you live your life. That's what I want for everybody. And I imagine you do as well, right? So I think that's a huge takeaway. And then also like the business model, right? Okay, I'm going to do this 1 hour webinar, and in this case, you're offering it for free, right? You're talking about solving a specific problem. People come, they get great stuff. Like I've learned so much just from that webinar. I was like, oh my God. And then you come in, they do like a 4-week program, and then they can go into like more of an ongoing container to help up-level their health. I just think it's so brilliant, and if you're watching this or listening to this, like, you can model a lot of stuff in this own business. And then what's even more exciting to me is now you're making more money, working less, but then also what's happening next. So talk about investing.
It's really wonderful to watch the money growing. We were on vacation recently in Costa Rica, and I checked my Schwab account, and daily that money was going up. I was just like, thank you. We thanked you every day we were away, for that particular stretch of time. It doesn't do that all the time, but it did that. Yeah, I studied investing. I'm no dope. I studied investing for years, and I got the concept, but I couldn't figure out how to make it work. I absolutely could not. And neither could the 5 financial advisors I had who all lost money for me. So, and the last one didn't lose money, but the rate of return was like 2-3%. So, and decades I've been trying to figure this stuff out. Index funds, index funds, index funds. Well, there's tons of index funds, and they don't all make good money.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So what inspired you to go to your first financial advisor? Like, what had you feel like you were ready to do that? I don't know that story at all.
I'm 30 at the time, and I'm making good money. I'm working in the trades in San Francisco in a union job. Whether it was my girlfriend or my own sense, I'm like, oh, I now have enough money that I can put some money away. I had no idea what to do or how to do that. And so my girlfriend said, go see this woman.
Isn't that how it goes? So I'm just like, oh, I have this college friend, or I have this friend, or my dad, or whatever. And like, that's how so many people do it. And that's how so many people lose money. But anyway, so you did what most people do. That's good to know. And you're like, well, okay, let me go see this person. Yeah.
It was her financial person.
Yep.
Nice enough. And she did her thing. And I had no idea. And I have enough sense of numbers. I looked at the bank statements. Now, these are the days in the 80s. You may not remember, but interest was 18% back then. So my bank account was earning more than whatever she was doing for me,
geez.
So at the end of the year, she's like, you want to give me more money? I'm like, no, Linda, look, my bank account's earning more than your money, She's like, right, we didn't have a stellar year last year. Years later, decades later, somebody looked at her, someone was analyzing my finances and said, do you know how much you're paying her to manage your money? I had no idea. Turned out 3%.
Wow.
3% was going to Linda. No wonder she wanted more money.
Yeah.
So that was the end of Linda. That was my first financial advisor. And then I had recommendations for other people, this one who lost $15,000 of my money in an up year in the market. And he said, yeah, our model follows the market by a year. Like that was supposed to be a reason. Like, don't worry, you'll make money next year. I'm
Did you?
I'm not. No, I pulled my money out. I'm like, I'm not staying with you. If you can't earn me money in an up year, I don't want to see what you're going to do next year. So I might not know where I'm going, but I'm not going with you. And then like that. Eventually, someone else told me about something else. I wouldn't recommend them, but they didn't lose me money. It was clear that money grew.
But just
much,
a little bit.
And I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what, and I had no idea how to fix it or what to do instead.
Yeah. What inspired you? I mean, in your case, you ended up doing one of the investment strategies that we teach in our programs. But like, what inspired you to try again after all of that? And just to be clear, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't manage people's money for them or give them financial advice. But one of the things you wanted to get out of the program was learning how to invest more effectively.
Correct. You had done niche interviews. And I was one of the people you did niche interviews. What would you like to, you were at a place in your business, because I've known you, I think 14 years now.
Something like that, yeah.
So somewhere along the line, I'm not the only one who niche switches, right? You were like, okay, what's going to be my next gig? And you asked me, what would I pay for? And I said, you give me a 30% return, I'll pay you. So when you did the program, you did a free thing. I'm like, whatever Penelope's doing, I'm showing up.
Awesome.
And then I had in my mind, I can't remember, when is your offer, on day 2?
At that time, it was, day 2.
I want to say it was day 2.
Day 2 of the event, yeah.
So at the beginning of that day, I said to myself, if the offer is under this amount, I'm in, without having a clue what you were going to offer, what it was going to be, because I know you to be of the utmost integrity, always delivering way more than you promise, and you promise a lot. I thought, you can't get better than you.
Thank you.
So, and then when your offer came in under what I'm going to cry. I was so happy. It's like, I don't know anything about this program, but it came in under what I said I was going to pay. I can afford that.
That's awesome.
And we've been working together ever since.
Yeah, I love it. And what gave you the confidence to manage your own investing, and what's happened with that?
It took me a long time to get my money out of that other house and to go through all the paperwork of doing. Investing is much easier than setting up the investing. And I think that's true for a lot of things. Staying on the train is easier than getting on the train. But once I did all that transfer, I knew if you're saying this is how it works, I want to try it. I knew the house I was in wasn't giving me what I wanted. And I'd left him before and gone back. And he said, I'm not going to take you back again. I'm like, it's okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
I thank you for what you've done. I'm not planning to come back. And I always knew, because I've done this, well, if it doesn't work out and I can't keep up, there's plenty of other houses out there.
Yeah.
That option isn't going away just because I'm choosing to follow a strategy that you're teaching. But I could wrap my head around that strategy like pretty quickly because it made sense.
Yeah.
You filled in gaps in my knowledge. And so now I remember at the beginning being on Schwab, how do you do this? And I'd call them up because they have an 800 number. They're great. 24/7, they're at the 800 number. And they're so patient. How do you do this? Where is this again? All I want to do is, can you walk me through? And I don't do that anymore. We're in Costa Rica. Hey, honey, look. I'm like, let's just buy you some more of this, you know? It has gotten very easy. Practice.
That's so cool. I love it. And I love just seeing the journey. We're going to have to like do more because I know there's so much more, like from buying your dream house to the amazing vacations you've been doing to our incredible meals at the French Laundry, which is often voted the best restaurant in the world. That's a lot of fun. Was there anything that like you wish I'd asked you that I didn't, or any last thoughts you want to leave us with?
That's a great question.
Especially for imagine 30-year-old Dot, right? Who is starting her investment journey, wants to build a 6-figure business. Like what, no pressure. What words of wisdom would you
I think
give
for
her?
me, who's had a lot of fear, always knowing you can go back where you came from. Maybe I couldn't go back to the same house I came from, but there's plenty other finance, you know, it's not like any of your decisions are irreversible. It's like, what is the worst that's going to happen here? What is the worst? You're going to lose this money? Not likely. I didn't expect to make it back in 9 months, but I did. But, you know, what's the worst that's going to happen here? And the same with business. I have always managed money fairly well. You know, if I jump off a cliff, I have a savings account. Would I jump off a cliff with no money? That would be a little more scary. But I've watched you tell people, do not invest your last $10,000 with me. That's not a good, you know, I've watched you talk people out of investing with you if it's not the right fit for them. You know, for me, it's always felt like there's a cushion. There really is a safety. What's the worst that's going to happen here? The worst that's going to happen is I don't do anything. That's the worst that's going to happen. My inertia is much worse than anything that could happen moving forward. And I say this to my students. How does it go? Success lies outside your comfort zone.
Ooh, success lies outside your comfort zone. There you go. Dot, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you and can hardly wait to see what's next.
Me too.
Yay. All right. Nailed it.
Great.
Wow. Did you get some great insights and takeaways? I love how Dot is so aligned with her message and so passionate about it. If you have osteoporosis or osteopenia, I highly recommend checking out her online training on the top 5 keys to reverse osteoporosis. And you know, you don't need to wait for an osteoporosis diagnosis to improve your bone density. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So click the link in the description or go to getoutofbackpain.com to register for free. And if you're curious about my event that Dot attended, she's talking about Financial Freedom 101. So I'll post the link in the description as well, or you can go to financialfreedom101online.com to check it out. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you there.